It's quite difficult. Fortunately, Visual Studio 2008 provides the CSS Properties window to help you interpret style sheet application. If you take a look, you'll see a button here called Summary. If you click on the Summary button, you can see what styles are actually being used inside your style sheet. You can even visually see and understand the inheritance rules in action. Let's move around our document. Right now our focus, if you look in the Properties window, is on UL. But let's say if we move around from div to div. Let's go to video left, for example. Let's take a look at the CSS Properties. By clicking on the color in CSS Properties, up above in the applied rules, you can see this rule is coming from the body rule. If I click on font family, font size, all these are coming from body. Notice something interesting going on in the block area. There's two text align properties. This is a perfect example of how inheritance works. You might have this defined multiple times, and in this case we do. We have the text align set to right in video main, which is the structure for our video div, and then text align set to left, which is what we specified in the video left. Because the left overrides the video main, you'll see that video main's text align property is indicated with a red strikeout. This indicates the parent settings are overridden by another CSS rule. You can even find out where all the rules are coming from by just clicking on the different events. Another useful feature is the overlay button. If I go ahead and click on the design mode and look at my top direct style application toolbar, I'll see a button that says show overlay. When I have this button toggled on, what will happen is when I click on a style, it will actually indicate with blue highlights what elements are actually using that style. So if I click on various rules in the applied rules section, I can see on my left hand side what elements are picking up those rules. For example, when I click on the rule for video right, you can see both the UL, the unordered list, and the right div are highlighted in blue, indicating this rule applies to both these divs. If you're finding the blue a little bit difficult to see, you can actually change these settings. If you go to Tools, Options, scroll down to HTML Designer, select View, and scroll down to see Style Application Overlay. It's light blue and darker blue. You can change this to whatever you'd like. For example, I might want to make it a little brighter and choose magenta and select OK, and that way I can have something brighter to show my videos. So now when I click on these, I see a magenta highlight indicating which elements are using these various rules. There may be times when you inherit a page with inline style. Those are styles that are actually embedded directly into the page itself, rather than being stored in an external style sheet. This kind of gets messy, and maintenance and reusability become much more feasible if you decide to centralize your style sheets into an external style sheet, rather than having them embedded in line. Let's add a few sample styles directly into the page as inline styles. Then I'll show you how I can move these styles out into the external style sheet. Let's go ahead and work with our unordered list. Right click on it and select New Style. And in this case, we'll create a couple classes. Create one for video list in general, and we'll actually define that in the current page. This will serve as an inline style. We won't set any properties for this, so just click OK. Next, we'll want to define one for the unordered list. Let's go ahead and right click again, say New Style. We'll do video list, and we'll type in UL to indicate unordered list. And let's go ahead and set a couple properties here. We will set the list type to be circle instead of the traditional closed bullet. Now let's click OK. We just added two styles, and if we look in the default ASPX page, the very top, you'll see these styles defined directly in line. What if we don't want these in line? You can imagine it's quite tedious to copy paste these, and you might make errors by bringing them over into your style guide one by one. Instead, we can go to the Manage Styles, and if we take a look here, you'll see that we have CSS styles, the ones that are listed in our global CSS, as well as the ones listed in our current page. You'll also notice that you have different circles indicating what styles are in use. So for the blue, you see solid blue circles for elements, solid green circles for classes, and little gray circles around each of these solid circles to indicate which styles are in use. The two we've created aren't in use, and you can see them listed in the current page. We can even actually click on all these different styles, and then down below, if you look on the selected style preview, you can actually preview what these styles look like in action. Additionally, you can even see how many instances of your style rule is in use. For example, if we right-click on the nav horizontal LI, it indicates that we have 4 instances of this style in use. We can choose that option And what will happen in our design view, all the different elements that are using that style will be highlighted. We can also apply unused styles to existing elements in our web page. So if we go ahead and put in our design mode our cursor in the UL, we can go ahead into the Manage Styles window and click on the video list and choose to apply this style directly to our UL. And if you look, the class now changed to video list. Also notice that we have our managed styles. We have these two styles, one being used, one not being used, in our current page. We can scoot these up and just drag and drop them right inside of our global style. And now they're actually moved from the default ASPX page into the global CSS. You'll notice that we have our two classes listed at the top. But why would we want them at the top? We want the body to be at the top. Well, instead of copy-pasting directly from our global CSS, this Manage Style window allows us to actually work with our style sheets right within this window. So we can just go ahead and take our video list, for example, and drag it all the way to the bottom of our screen. Likewise, we can do the same thing with video list UL. This way, we can manage all our styles and order them in a way that makes sense for us without actually having to work with the code itself. There's a couple other options that are available for us in this Manage Styles window. If we go ahead and click on the options, we can notice that we can categorize by order. We can categorize by element. So now all the elements are grouped together, all the divs. As you see, we have div for video left, video right, video main. All the H1s are grouped together, etc. Or we can choose to go ahead and group them by type. So all the elements are grouped with all the blue circles, all the classes are grouped with all the green circles. Let's go ahead and default back to order. We can also decide to filter by filtering what styles are currently used, what styles are currently used on the selection as well. Additionally, another handy feature is if we want to actually see the style rule in the code, all you have to do is either right-click on it and select Go to Code, or you can just double-click on it and it'll take you directly to that style rule inside the style sheet or the inline style, depending on where the style is stored. Let's go ahead and add one last style to our style sheet and we'll consider it complete for now. Go ahead and select New Style. And in this case, we'll select a style for our list items. So we'll say Video List, List Items, and we'll make sure we'll store this in the existing style sheet. For box, we'll set some padding. So this is going to display the icons that represent our images. We'll be working with this in more detail when we get to the videos for nested master pages. So let's go ahead and set the padding. So instead of doing same for all, we're going to set our padding by hand, and we'll do 100 pixels, 80, and 0, and 0 to indicate how we want to space our images that represent the videos. And lastly, for the layout, for layout display, inline. We'll specify the URL for global CSS and select OK. So now let's take a look at our global CSS. We should have 6 additional styles, the divs, the 3 divs that we have for the structure of our page, and then the 3 classes that we have for our list, for our video list. The first 3 styles use element IDs, which will set the main structure for a 2-column video page display, and the last 2 are classes, which will determine the layout for the image hyperlinks to the actual video. So now you have a style sheet that leverages all 3 style rules. Use several tools, including the Css Properties window, the Manage Styles window, as well as the toolbar at the very top for the direct style application. Hang on to the style sheet as we'll be leveraging it in future videos, including those working with master pages.